Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the wild side, where steam is difficult to come by and my hats are poorly shaped. I got two hats I need to shape the brims of, but steam isn't that bad. I just got to use my propane burner, which is outside and the wind blows, so it's frustrating. But anyway, I just need to do that and shape this dang hat and my white one. So this is the hat I'm going to wear on my short film that I'm fixing to shoot right away. Was supposed to do it tomorrow. Funny how things work. We've had nonstop sunshine, so I just planned for it to shoot, didn't worry about it. And then I looked at my weather app, which I shouldn't do, but sometimes it's right. The only days of clouds were Saturday and Sunday. Like, why does that happen? Like the one day that I planned to shoot, cloudy. So, and it proved true. Today's cloudy. So it's just not worth risking it. So I was supposed to shoot it tomorrow, but putting it off. It'll probably be 2 days. So I'm going to shoot me and the other guy, our scene together, and then I got to shoot the shots of just me. So that's what's going on, and I'm going to wear this hat, even though Justin may find that annoying, because it's not my best hat. But I'm wearing a black outfit. I'm a bad guy. And it's not a Hollywood-ism because black was very common. So it works out. It just works out. But this is a hat I'm going to wear. I got to flatten the brim. Because the reason I like starting with these old hats, I got two films that I want to do this in. I just like the idea of having a beat up hat and then the audience gets to see him get a nice hat, which in this case will happen in probably the next one. So I just find that fun. And then I'm going to put on that hat, even though it's brown and it doesn't look great with black. Well, that's just how it's going to be. Oh, you got some bluebonnets blooming, Craig? I drove to town yesterday and saw that we have our ornamental cherries. I guess they're ornamental. Anyway, our cherry trees in town. People often plant cherry trees in their yards. I didn't notice the orchards, but mostly it's apples that I drive by. Anyway, really nice. They're pink blossoms, and I think I saw magnolias blooming, and they're the first ones. Maybe the cherries are first now that I think about it. But anyway, magnolias are early, and then we get our dogwoods. And the dogwoods are what I like them both. I like the magnolias; they're bigger flower. But oh, cool! So you had a good year. I know that they do fluctuate sometimes, more and less depending on how much water you guys get. So that's cool. I've never been there for the bluebonnets. Usually when I leave Texas, it's right before they start blooming. So hopefully I get to see that sometime. Hey, good morning, Cliff. Cliff Clary. Hey, thanks for making it. Whoops, I messed up my background. I bought chips for the first time in a long time. The ingredients are actually half decent. What isn't half decent was this stupid cheese that I bought. It's addictive. I almost ate the whole freaking thing. It says it's made with real cheese. And anyway, I'm trying to eat really healthy, and it's not even a big effort because I feel so good eating healthy. But yesterday I went to town hungry and had to buy a snack. And actually, I didn't get too much of a stomach ache from it. I've been taking probiotics, and man, if you guys haven't got on those yet, I know that's not what this channel is about, but if you haven't started taking probiotics yet, I think you should look into them. I'm taking 2 different pill form trying to make some carbonated juice from one, but it's got to be around 97 degrees, and it's only about 80 degrees up there at most times. So I finally figured out I could put it on a brick on the stove to heat it up. So maybe now it'll work. Anyway, just trying different ways of using probiotics. And then I'm eating plain yogurt and kimchi. So anyway, it makes it well. Of course, then I'm not also not eating the garbage food that we get sold. So in grocery stores, it's amazing walking through a grocery store. It's like 99% of the stuff in there I wouldn't even consider eating, especially on a regular basis, let alone just as a 1 or 2 time snack. So, um, anyway, we got some history to talk about. This is exciting. Trans Missouri stock raising. So, you guys who think this trans movement isn't historical, there was actually a lot of trans people raising beef out on the frontier. But of course, the Christian fundamentalists write our history books, so you didn't hear about it. Okay. Somebody thought that was funny. All right, Trans Missouri. What this is talking about is above Texas, and it's talking about the Missouri River for those of you who don't know. And so basically, this area where the Great Plains start and back east ends, so that transitional area, I don't remember. I didn't memorize what this area was. And then up to the Canadian border and down, I don't know, below Kansas and over to the Rockies, eastern and western slopes it's talking about. So that was a whole huge region, 1 billion acres that these guys are talking about as immensely adequate for feeding the nation. And that's what this book is about. It's kind of disappointing. I was hoping it would be more like this one. This is 1874, the cattle trade of the West and Southwest. I need to get back into this book. I only read some of it. But this one actually talks about the cowboys and cattle work and the numbers of cattle. This one is just a bunch of numbers. And that's what happens when you get a damn Yankee writing a book about the frontier. For those of you who don't know, the rich men north of Richmond, as that song goes, all they cared about is money. And that's what it's kind of disappointing, as a kid, you hear the stories and the mythology of the West, and you get excited because the Wild West is just so dang cool from movies. Then you learn the history and you find out that almost all of it was driven by money, which is why the Texas Cowboys were so dang cool. Because just generalizing here, the Cowboys, they weren't in it for the money. They were getting paid $25 a month. And then the owners were mostly Texan of the cattle herds. They had some investors back east helping to fund, but most of it was a locally driven economy and export that fueled the drives up to Kansas. And the Cowboys, like I say, they were into it for the lifestyle and the love of the game, as we say these days. But then you get these damn Yankees, and they're just in it for money. Because as I've mentioned before, back in Europe, all right, so there's so much on this. This is so exciting that I'm learning. In Europe, they've been herding animals for thousands of years. And herding animals, I believe it started over around Anatolia. But I think it also started in the Fertile Crescent, where all the fighting is going on. And so that's why it's dumb when these people post these histories on Facebook that Spain invented the cowboy, essentially. And I'll just sum it up, as I always do. The Spanish made being a cowboy cool. because everybody else did it, but it wasn't cool. Anyway, I've talked about this before. I need to not belabor this point. So I had a hunch. There was a lot of cattle herding going on that wasn't Texas related, and I wanted to learn about it. That's why I ordered this book to know. I want to find out more about what it was, because the Texas cowboys, they took from the Spanish and made it cool in the American way. But the damn Yankees, they were just in it for money. And that's what's disappointing when you read the history. You start realizing the fur trade wasn't about these guys who wanted to go out and live deliberately. They weren't out there for the love of it. They were out there to make money, because beaver prices, skyrocketed, and you could go out and make money. And a lot of them, of course, they learned a love of their wild life. But then when the beaver market plummeted, most of them went to farming, went to towns or whatever. And then a guy like me reading it, it's like, what in the world? Why didn't they just stay in the mountains? There was still plenty of deer in the 1840s and plenty of buffalo, and they had a lot of tribes that they were friends with. But you find out it's like they were primarily there for the money. And that's the unfortunate thing about the West. Most of the driving factor was the money, which is why I really love the Texas Cowboys, because they were in it for the fun of it. And that's what you get in this book. It's like mostly numbers, talking about the main thing is that they're pushing this. It's like this guy compiled all this information to appeal to the people back east why to move westward with cattle, because back east they were raising a lot of cattle, but they had to grow hay and grain and keep the animals penned up, and they actually lost a lot. And these guys, now what I didn't know, I didn't realize there was so much cattle out in all this area that I described in the 1850s. So there's like one guy, this was written in 1871, so everything talked about is pre 1871. This guy said he wrote in 68 or 70. He wrote a letter to the author saying, I've been out here for 20 years raising thousands of head of cattle. And because this author was getting experiences by people who'd been out there. And there's multiple people writing to him. I've been out here for 10 years. I've been out here for 11 years. I've been out here for 20 years raising cattle out in Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska. See, I thought the Texas cowboys basically furnished cattle up there. But that's not the case. I think what happened was, post-war, there was such a demand for cattle back east that the Texans were primarily feeding that need, the back east need for beef, while the Easterners were growing herds out west in the northern states. And then the Texans eventually were also selling off to these other places. But the most desired beef, I'm trying to get the herds. There was one that they called an American breed, and there was a blooded breed. I think that means a mix. I haven't seen a definition of it yet, but it said blooded. And then the Durham was a big breed that they were doing, and then I think Hereford. And the author writes that the Texas Longhorn was not desirable. He talks about how good the stock is that they've got out there, and saying none of them are over half Texas cattle, half that are interbred, that none of them are over half, and most of them are a quarter or less, because that was less desirable, which kind of makes sense, because back east, they're keeping animals in pens, so you want to breed calmness into your cattle, because when you got penned up, you want a docile cattle. That's what we got these days. These Angus are really calm. And I mean, for the most part, I'm sure somebody who actually works Angus cattle, eh, well, I know for a fact people who work them are annoyed with them, but they're not like the Texas cattle that were actually dangerous and a lot more wild because they actually were out in the wild, out in the thickets, out around pumas. They had to stay alive by staying wiry, and so less desirable in a lot of ways. So anyway, it's really interesting. First off, to find out that they were raising thousands of head of cattle out there in these states through the 50s and 60s. I just didn't know that. So oh, Craig says I've had a Longhorn steak, lean, no fat. Yeah, I think they say that about Corriente cattle too. I don't know if they're related. Because I was considering getting cattle, and some people suggested, well, if you get Corrientes, they're used to running wild. Because I wanted to leave them out here. But now that I know a little more about cattle, I don't think that matters. My favorite steak I ever had was I think it was a half Limousine and I think half Angus. I don't remember what the other half was. But it's hard to find a Limousine. Hey, Stanley, good morning. Good morning, Milan. Welcome. And Jeff, hey, good morning. Lone Ranger, morning. Morning, everybody. All right. Yeah, so it's pretty fascinating. Just starting in. So I'm going to have to get other books. I'm hoping he gets into a little bit more description about the actual cattle handling, because these guys, they talk about how much money they can make, because he talks about how mild the winters are and how the cattle thrive on them. So primarily, it seems they had the cattle out there. Like, why were they running herds out in these states? Primarily, from what I can tell, to provide teams of oxen to the military contractors. So there was forts being built. This was, ramping up to fight the Indians to make it safe for white settlement. So there was forts being built, and there were surveyors and train tracks being built. And so, because this guy writes about how he'll have these herds of teams come in for winter grazing, or come off of their work for winter grazing, and pretty skinny. And he talks about how through the winter, by springtime, they're fat enough to sell for beef. Not that they were selling them for beef. He's just talking about how good the range is out there, because winter grazing was a big deal. And he talks about how all you need is a herder. You don't have to buy grain. You don't have to raise grain. You don't have to herd them anywhere. You don't have to pen them up. He's talking about the advantages, which is kind of funny. He's talking about all the advantages of filling all these states, all this land, billion acres, with cattle, because they can eat through the winter. And it's like a race. And I'm reading that thinking, little did he know that pretty soon they're going to start irrigating everything. And that's going to push all the cattle aside. And that's what happened in most states, especially here in my area, major cattle area here. And by the 70s, when this is written, we had already started divvying up irrigation rights and doing turnouts for farmland. And once you got farmland, if cattle go in and trample it or eat it, they have to pay money to the farmers. And the farmers don't want to put up fences. Cattle run through fences. So basically, whose side do the courts and the government take? Farmers. And it pushed the cattlemen aside. And anyway, just how our history was developed. Gio Freitas. Hey, cheers to Brazil. Welcome. Como vai? The only Portuguese I know. Tudo bom. Tudo bem. Hope I said that right. So anyway, a friend sent up some clothes, so I got the other guy for my short film outfitted yesterday, and he looks great. He should be perfect for the part. And just waiting on a saddle now. I need 2 saddles for this short film. It's just gonna be a 3 or 5-minute film. I want everybody to be prepared for that. But it should be really cool. It should be really cool. Fingers crossed. Um, if I can pull this off. In my head, it's amazing, but they always say, you never create the story that you, imagine it to be. So we'll see. Hopefully it turns out really good. With AI these days, yeah, I hate AI just like anybody, but, there's an AI app where any idiot can go on and make orchestral music, and, that's what, we all love Ennio Morricone. We all love Ennio Morricone, who did the spaghetti western music, the best stuff of it anyway, and, so where does an idiot like me come up with an orchestra? Well, AI makes that happen. So, I'll be using it, but as I always say, hey, if I could push a button and get rid of AI completely, I would push it. But, me using it for my short films isn't gonna make us all subjected to robots. That's gonna happen anyway. So, might as well make some short films, while we wait for our impending doom and destruction. So, anyway, that was a cheery note. Let's go see how the weather's looking. I can tell you this, not great. Because if it's going to be cloudy, it might as well be rainy. It ain't going to rain. It ain't going to rain. I don't think so. There's a lot of clouds up there. You can't tell. Smoking in the boys' room. Yep. But it's nice. It's nice weather. It's not really cold. Just threatening rain that'll never come. My creek is slowing down, but out where I go riding, it's even higher elevation, and the creek is still flowing there. I'm not on the main creek. My creek over there feeds into another creek, and that's the one that I ride up to, and it goes elsewhere. It goes around the hill down a different draw. So that's what's going on over here. Getting outfitted for the Western. Got myself some clothes. I was in town yesterday trying to find some black thread so I can make this vest a little better by adding a button, which I think I've got a button, and I hope so. And but I ran out of time, had to run off, and didn't get any black thread. I also am learning how to make a fake bullet wound. So, like I say, this Western short film should be pretty cool. Should have a fake bullet wound and everything. That'll look real. So, we'll see. I've got a saddle over on the west side, which is Seattle, and as you can imagine, I don't wanna go over there, but, I'm gonna have to go get that saddle so I can shoot the film because I've got 2 horses, and, I need 2 saddles and, to make it right. I could probably shoot it without the other saddle, but it'd just look a lot more, normal, I guess, to have the other one saddled. So, anyway. Clean shave outlaw. Yeah, you can't really tell. I just use clippers when I shave, and, So I trimmed up my mustache really a lot. Like I had long growth of my mustache. Oh, there we go. Down to here. Doggone. And I trimmed it up because I got to look mean. Uh, and so I thought a trimmed up mustache will pull that off a little better. That was my face. And I'm going to wax it, make it look more clean cut. I'm also going to because the problem is I didn't want to be the lead character in this series. I'm doing a 4-part series as the plan. I didn't want to be the lead character because I'm blonde and blue eyed, and it's supposed to be a cold blooded killer. But also the main reason, my longer short film that I'm shooting, I'm the main guy in that movie. And so I don't want people getting confused watching these short films and then watching the 45-minute episode and thinking, wait, okay, is this the same guy? And so that's why I got to change up my appearance, um, change up my mustache. So in the longer episode, I won't, hopefully, it'll grow out in a couple months and I won't wax it. So it'll be unkempt as it normally is. And hopefully, my appearance is different enough that nobody confuses it. So otherwise, because this character is just a rotten guy, rotten scoundrel. So, and the other character is a good-hearted guy. So I don't want that confusion going on. I look similar to Val Kilmer. Hey, thanks. I'll just have to write in some Doc Holliday parts then. I think I can do a pretty good Clint Eastwood. But the problem is he didn't have a mustache. And so it's hard to tell. But eventually I'm going to do a Clint Eastwood impersonation. And I'll shave my mustache for that. But I got to get the outfit. I don't think it's funny, you laughing at my mule. So we'll see how that looks. Anyway, I'm excited about these. All right, maybe it's time to start some coffee. There's that cheese again. Yes, being a comedian is in my blood. There's actually a woman who wrote what's called the Bible of comedy, and she talked about how at the beginning, like what a comedian is. Like, are you this kind of a person? When my dad passed away a few years ago, and we had the memorial service like 2 months later. And as soon as I heard about it, bunch of comedy was coming to me. And so when I spoke at the memorial, I started into my comedy bits, which my dad would have loved. I used to laugh. I used to make my dad laugh a lot. He loved being the butt of the joke, or I was the butt of the joke. And so he would have enjoyed those jokes. And my brother and our friends who were friends from childhood and knew my dad, they all got a kick out of it. I didn't get through too many of the jokes though because I started crying. But anyway, that was one of the things that the gal who wrote Comedy Bible, like, if you laugh at inappropriate times, if you laugh and make jokes at inappropriate times, then you're probably probably the type who is a comedian. Well, that sucks. The way that I placed it, that handle's going to get super hot, which isn't a big deal. I normally use my leather gloves for handling it just fine, but when it gets super hot, then I got to use this thing. If I make a mistake, then glove gets really hot and it's on my hand. I have to pull the glove off real fast. But for the most part, I love using gloves for hot pads or whatever you'd call them. All right, cough time. So part of the fun of riding my horse is coming up with like emergency packs. So I got this bag, which is bigger than a hunting bag would have been. This is more like a normal shooting bag size. This one I've got rigged up for shooting with my black powder rifle. This one I made knowing it was too big. It's not ridiculously big, but 5 inches by 6 inches was pretty typical. They're a lot smaller than we think. You know, speaking of learning about the real history. And so I'm going to use this one for modern being outfitted. But anyway, part of the fun is getting rigged up for bringing emergency gear on all my rides. Shoot, I don't have it in here anymore, but being ready for cold, for wind, and for rain. And I've got a poncho, a canvas poncho that's waterproof. And it's funny how much, as soon as you block the wind, like I could be freezing, like really cold. And then as soon as I block the wind, without even adding like my down coat, start to get hot. And we all know that. Wind is a huge factor for staying warm. And so that's why that poncho is essential. So that kind of sets me up for wind and rain. And then for cold, I've got a pullover wool shirt. So pack that along because it's not good enough for historical reenactment, but it's a cool shirt. That way I can leave it on my saddle. And then I use rubbing alcohol for disinfectant, for sterilizing. And that's nice because then I can carry a thing of rubbing alcohol in my saddlebags, and it's dual purpose. It can keep me safe from disease by sterilizing, but also can double as a fuel if I need a fuel to boil water. But on the other hand, there's so much fuel here for boiling water that I can even use when it's even if it's raining. So, but still, it's nice to, if I had to. So that's what I'm dealing with. Maybe eventually I'll actually do a camp trip. I'd like to do an emergency, like a bug out bag type of a camp trip, or actually use this stuff instead of just having it in theory. Back when I used to watch more of those videos, I like bug out bag videos, but it was always annoying because it's always somebody like in their garage. You know, I want to see a camp trip, people using their bug out bag. So it's been a desire, something on my mind for years, but I haven't done one. A lot of it because I was learning. Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to be too hot. Maybe not. Good. It's boiling. So anyway, it's taken a long time to really know how I could put together a good, effective bug out bag. It would be really nice to have a tarp big enough to block wind and rain. The poncho is nice for, real minimalism, where it all fits on just my riding horse. But it'd be nice to have a tarp big enough where if it's the worst conditions, that's the goal, to prepare for the worst conditions. Because a light rain isn't that threatening. But what you want to be prepared for is if you get stuck and all of a sudden it's 30-mile-an-hour winds and downpour of rain. That's what you really want to be prepared for. But even then, it depends. Am I out here in the desert? Probably not, because it's not even that far. There's not enough land out here. Or am I up in the woods? So we'll see. Hopefully I get to do a lot more riding. Hopefully my horse gets into better shape. I've been riding her quite a bit and getting her up into the hills. So I'm excited about that, finally, to be able to do that. And I got all 4 shoes on her, which even with all 4 shoes, she has a hard time on these rocks. Really tempted to go to boots. But I want to be able to shoe her. And I still got to trim her, even if I use boots. So I'm kind of hoping that shoes work. But I think they will. She's gotten a lot better walking on these rocks since I put shoes on. But it's really rocky out here in most places. So hopefully she gets in shape. All right, Mon says, I'm pretty new to the reenactment scene. It's really hard to find good, affordable stuff, especially in Germany. I bet. There are many great stores in the U.S., but then you have to pay like $40 for shipping. Yeah, that's a tough spot. If you could buy all your stuff at once, and just do the shipping once, that would be nice. What era are you going for? And do you know the Swedish guys? The Swedish guys have been doing it for a long time, and they're pretty close to you, so they might have some ideas. But actually, there's some German guys, aren't there? But I don't remember if the German guys are doing a good job at being true historical, or if you get a lot of cotton trousers. That's the biggie for me, is when people who insist on wearing cotton vests and cotton trousers, then I know they don't take the history seriously. It doesn't mean they don't take the love of the West seriously, but it's the history. So like I say, learning the true history is kind of disappointing. You find out how difficult it is and expensive to dress right. But my love for truth and my love for history keeps me playing. Keeps me going on it. But I'm able to admit that it's frustrating. And before I knew what was historically correct, it was a lot easier to dress as a historical cowboy. That's what I'm trying to say. Cheers, everybody. Here's to some good coffee, good times. Yes, the movie is going to be on my YouTube channel. Because for a long time, I was doing those videos, and I knew very, very little about making videos. And I was also learning about writing movies and writing stories. For a long time, I was wondering how to make these movies and incorporate kind of the 3-act structure. 'cause I was discontent with what my videos were. I mean, I look back on them now and I like them, but they're not like really creative, and it was just the bare minimum as I was trying to learn. And, so for a long time, I've wanted to do more with that channel and my videos, and now that I'm not bound to camping, where it has to be a camping video, I've kinda got away from thinking that's what it has to be, and I've decided that these videos are the route I'm gonna go for now. We'll see. Maybe when I'm better at editing and it's faster, then I can do some more videos, but probably more like once a month is what I would be after. I tell you, I'm not really into making videos. I enjoy it, but actually doing the video work is not what's exciting for me. A lot of people love editing. I don't. So, anyway, the coyotes have been calling. There's always coyotes around, and I don't shoot them, so they don't have any reason to think that I'm gonna hurt them, except for general human coyote tendencies. And let's see, I think it was last night or 2 nights ago that, oh, yeah, last night. It was 2 nights ago, and last night was weird. But 2 nights ago, there was one over here on the hills and one over here 2 parcels away making a similar noise. They were both making a similar sound. It wasn't their normal. Oh, that's right. And I think it was because, oh, 3/4 of a mile away or a mile away, somebody was shooting. Fairly close, somebody was shooting a rifle, pretty loud one. And, and those of you who've been listening for a long time, you might remember that I've said I've heard coyotes speak in complete sentences, and I've got it on video somewhere. I can demonstrate it on video. I think I posted a video about it and showed it. And coyotes have, I mean, they're not like talking, they're not like talking about the weather, but they have a lot of complex communication, more so than we might imagine, we'll say. And I think that what they were doing, because normally at that time of evening, coyotes will come out and they start making noise. It's like they're all excited. It's like they're waking up, coming out of their den. A bunch of boys about to hit the town and cause trouble, like a bunch of cowboys. Hey, we just got off work. We're gonna hit town and raise havoc. Is kind of the feel. So they're hollering and everybody's excited. But the other night when that shooting was going on, my guess is it was a warning. I feel like that they were all warning each other because these 2 that I could hear were making, like I said, some strange noise. I wish I would have recorded it. I didn't. Um, so I think that they were warning each other and saying like, "Hey, we got to wait," or "This isn't good," because this guy's out there with a rifle. Coyotes are really smart, so I'm not. I mean, like this isn't like a silly notion to consider. Milan says maybe you should edit a trailer that's about 10 seconds long to upload it to Instagram Shorts and TikTok. I probably will. Now the problem with Shorts, I mean, I could put a link on it, but from what I've heard, and maybe things have changed, maybe there's something I don't know. Of course, there's stuff I don't know, but Shorts don't usually translate over to videos. That's why, like, oh, what's his name? Shoot, I think it's Bender. The guy whose last name is Bender. He does great camping videos. He did the Hobo series recently. That was excellent. He does some historical stuff, some modern. He'll do like a series of historical. I think it's James Bender. He just started, I noticed, a shorts channel, and that's what I've been thinking about doing because I once started doing shorts on here on my channel and I was getting thousands of views. And then I did a camping video and thinking this is great. I've revved things up and so it'll carry over to my video. Nope. My video got less than the shorts got. And it's just kind of the nature of it. It's like people who watch shorts are a different audience from people who watch videos and vice versa. I mean, of course, there's going to be a little bit of crossover. So I probably will do a short, but I don't know that it will really work for promotion. But I'll probably do a succinct cut of it for sure for TikTok and stuff. But such is the nature of social media these days. So just imagine putting out a 45-minute video. That's going to be way different from a 3-minute video. Horse archery. Oh yeah, horse archery is super cool. Problem is, horse archery had its own set of disappointments. For one, when I got into horse archery, I was imagining chasing down animals and hunting with it. And in the first year or two of learning it, I could have done that with coyotes if I had had my bow and arrows with me. There were times where I was close enough to coyotes, they were right with me, that I could have plugged them and satisfied that hunting dream of hunting from horseback. But that's a level of horsemanship that I don't have, that the Comanches had, where you got to be riding. I can ride with no hands. That part's not a problem for me. But steering my horse, that is. I've done a little bit of it. It was in the archery competitions. There is a separate thing. I forget. It's a separate competition. I think they call it like the field. I don't know. But it's where you have to ride your horse and go around a course. Most horse archery competition is just a straightaway, like 100 meters or 100 yards or something. It's just a straightaway, and you shoot targets to your left. Maybe depending on which one you're doing, you shoot one straight up above, which mimics going in toward a castle and shooting up at the people dropping oil and rocks on you. But mostly it was just shooting to the left like 6 times in 15 seconds. And that I could do. But getting my horse to steer with my legs, that's a whole nother level. I was able to do it a little bit with my buckskin. He was such a good horse, but he hated it. He would figure out, okay, what's the bare minimum that this guy wants from me so I can rush through it and get him off my back. That freaking horse was so annoying. He was awesome. I miss him when I'm riding this mare, except this mare's getting better. But he was so cool and so annoying at the same time. I miss the heck out of him. I hope I get to see him this year. I haven't seen him since he left me, or since I got rid of him. He's in a better place now with a little girl and her mom, and the mom's husband, and they got a boy, so, and a few horses. So he's in a happy place, much better than when he was with me. Oh, Cliff, I forget you're over there. It's in Auburn. I don't suppose you're driving over this way for any reason. I don't remember if you travel on your job or not. Man, it'd be nice to not have to drive over there. However, there is a friend I would like to hang out with if he's there, if he has time. But I just really don't want to. The gas cost isn't that big of a deal because my car gets 38 miles per gallon. I never want to leave. I dread even going to town. I just like being here. So yeah, it would be hard to do horse archery. That's what I'm trying to say. But you're right, Craig. It would be really cool. But I mean, and then what am I going to do? As a cowboy dressed up as horse archer? Because horse archery requires either I go white Indian with it, or I got to go medieval with it, or make up my own, which is what I was doing. Um, I've started writing a novel that's my own fictionalized fantasy world where there's a horse culture in it, and I was gonna design my own costume for that, but I got out of horse archery. I've actually been looking at my bow and arrow thinking, do I need to just get rid of that or what? But it's kind of cool to have. And when this horse gets better at riding, I think that I could shoot off of her. So I just might do that eventually anyway. So that's what's going on. I don't know. Do I look like a cold-blooded killer? We'll see. Add the music, add the dramatic music, and a little bit better video, so I'm not just washed out. It might work. The double chin doesn't really make me look threatening. Makes me look like a retired sheriff, or a sheriff who wants to avoid trouble. That's the part I should write for myself. I don't even want to play these lead parts that I've got. It's just that because I'm not an expert yet, I'm learning to make films, and the lead role takes the most time. It just is really practical for me to play it myself because that way I don't have to pay somebody or ask somebody to volunteer a bunch of hours while I'm figuring out how to do this. But if I just play the role myself, then that's like half the time right there that I don't have to incorporate somebody else, whether it's financial or time wise, taking somebody's time. So that's why I'm playing these lead roles, even though some people say that I talk to and that know the story, they say that I'll be really good for it, but we'll see. Yeah. Oh, I'll make it. My brain never stops, Craig. I overthink everything. Where's the saddle? Yep. Yeah, so that's what's going on here. Hopefully I'll close on my other properties soon, and then I'll have money to remodel this cabin, fix up my truck. We'll see. That's what's going on. Great times. This time of year is just fantastic. It's exciting. It's not hot yet. Some flies showed their face, but they're not desperate and in my face and annoying me like they are in the fall. And it's cool, but we got long days now. So I'm just really loving this time of year. I'm excited. This is should be a good year. Hopefully. It's looking up. All right. Well, I think I'll call it quits. Unless anybody's got comments and questions, then oh yeah, Craig just said grow hair and I'll look totally different. Yeah, if you noticed, I cut some of my hair yesterday. I need to cut the rest. And with the haircut and waxed mustache, I should look a lot different. And then for the other character, I'll have a couple months more of grown hair out and mustache unkempt. So should look pretty different. And yeah, I can't grow the hair takes a long time. I was kinda surprised how long it was had grown since when I cut it yesterday off my neck, but it's been like 6 or 8 months and I only got that much. I think it's been that long. Where am I doing this filming? Just out here around my place. I was riding, down a draw riding down this draw, and I thought, "Hey, this is a nice place for a camp." Then the next day or 2 days later, I was riding down that draw again, and I thought, "Hey, this would be a good place for a guy camping," and then a guy sneaking up on him and, waylaying him, and that's when my mind started going on to this little short film because 'cause I'm really into spaghetti westerns, and I've been wanting to do that style because my longer film isn't really. And I thought more this one's kind of a cross between it's all gonna be historical, but it's kinda Hollywood in that it's dramatic and there's a you know, cold blood murder. And, so anyway, I just kinda dreamed it up by riding through that draw a couple times, and, so that's where I'm gonna shoot it. Any chance of a cowboy camping video? Yes, there is a chance of it. It's not high priority for me, guys. I gotta admit. Um, I'm still dealing with my dogs being old, so it's hard to get out and camp with the horses because I can't mix them anymore. The dogs are too old to walk safely with the horses. Um, one of them's deaf and gets trampled. Because horses don't care. Horses, they don't care if there's a dog in front of them. They just trample 'em. Survival of the fittest. And so I just can't risk it. But also, they can barely walk a half a mile now. We go out for walks, and they do great on our walks, fortunately. But but to go a mile or 2 miles, it wears them out. So that's a challenge I'm facing to even get out and do a camping video. And that's kind of why these films are kind of ideal right now, anyway, um, because I don't have to. I can leave the dogs and just go for a ride and go do camping or go do some shooting for a few hours. Yeah. Such is life. What I need to do is a video about my life here. But yeah, you'll have to just watch my old camp videos, Milan. I'm in Washington State on the east side, not the Seattle side. Our state, we've got more desert than we've got rainforest. And oh, cool. Thanks, Milan. Appreciate that. That's cool. I was always critical of my videos when making them, but then I rewatched some of them last year, and I thought, wow, this is actually really enjoyable. I really enjoyed them. Um, but there's a lot to making videos that I didn't know, like editing, pacing, and how to show. Yeah, I could have made them a whole lot better. I do know that though. But anyway, I'm my own best critic, and I believe that way. That way, always improving. Well, thank you, Milan. I appreciate that. I think my main strength is my relaxed nature, but my overthinking and my poor video skills have to compensate. So anyway, um, yeah, it's a shame. If I could go back in time, I loved my chickens, I loved my goats and my sheep. But if I could go back in time and never get any more animals and just have the 2 horses and 2 dogs that I had, I would do it because then I could have just kept making videos every week. That was my plan, was to make them every week, but I didn't I was my own saboteur, sabotaged my own life. It's funny how things work, though. I've had a great life and learned a ton of things these past 10 years, 9 years, whatever it's been. But, now now I'm, Now, changing pace. All right. I think I'm going to go. These videos are also a reason I found the channel. Yeah, thank you, Milan. That, yeah, it was neat. I mean, YouTube was really promoting them. I was getting a lot of positive stuff from them. And like I say, I would have loved to make a whole lot more, but I messed myself up with my animals. And anyway, life's a funny thing. Just got to be grateful for what we have, where we're at. What I have are these books that I need to study some more, learn more about the cowboy culture across America. And the next one that I'm really looking forward to learning about is the California Cowboys. I think I saw another reference to them now, so I've got two references to the Cowboys up in California being different. So little by little, I'm piecing together what the frontier, what the West was like through the 70s and into the 80s. So anyway, all right. Thanks everybody for joining in. I hope you enjoy your weekend. I don't know if there's going to be a video tomorrow. I'm not sure. But for those of you who like the Creekside live streams, most likely it'll be going on. In Germany, we say hatte Fahrradkit. Hatte Fahrradkit. I don't know. That's my imitation of German. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like to reflect and try to figure out patterns of my life that are holding me back and see where I'm going and where I could alter. But yeah, not to dwell on it. And yeah. Anyway, good words. Thank you, Milan. Jeff Thornburg. Cheers, everybody. Get out, enjoy nature if you can, and see me on Facebook and Instagram during the week. Hopefully, we get this thing filmed this week, and then I'm shooting for May to put it out, guys. So sorry. Maybe for you guys who come on my lives, I can put out a rough. I don't know. It wouldn't be good. It's gonna take me forever, guys. I got to figure out how to make AI music for this thing, and I got to figure out how to edit it. I mean, I know the basics of it, but I want this to be good quality. So, hoping I get it done by May. Hoping I get it shot soon. Maybe I could put out a trailer, kind of give an idea. We'll see. I don't know. All right. Thanks for the likes, for the views. Enjoy your coffee. And remember, life's a lot more fun over on the wild side.